Hello and welcome to another Lent reading for 2023 as we consider people who encountered Jesus. Today it's day 25. Yesterday we had a lady with a sick daughter. Today it's a man with a sick son who's having seizures. It can be quite surprising as you read through the Gospels how many people came to Jesus seeking healing on behalf of someone else. Yesterday was a mother asking on behalf of her daughter. On day 10 it was a centurion asking on behalf of a servant. On day 15 some men carrying a lame friend to Jesus on a mat. On day 17 Jairus, the synagogue ruler, coming to Jesus again on behalf of a daughter. And today we have a man who came to Jesus on behalf of his son who was having seizures. We read about it in Matthew 17 and we'll start from verse 14. When they came to the crowd, a man approached Jesus and knelt before him. "Lord, have mercy on my son," he said. "He has seizures and is suffering greatly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not heal him." "You unbelieving and perverse generation," Jesus replied, "how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of the boy, and he was healed at that moment. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" He replied, "Because you have so little faith. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." A man brings his son to Jesus and gives an account which sounds very much like epilepsy, though Jesus treats it as demonic. If you go back and listen to day 13, I give some thoughts on this type of affliction and where it might originate. The man then states that he'd come to the disciples earlier, but they could not help him. Jesus' reply is that it is because they didn't have enough faith. We've seen that Jesus often says it is the faith of a person coming to him that makes a difference, like yesterday. Here Jesus says it is a lack of faith on behalf of the disciples that was the hindrance to healing. However, these are the same disciples that Jesus sent out in Matthew 10 with authority to bring healing in situations like this. So what had gone wrong? I wonder if what Jesus was referring to as a lack of faith might be what we sometimes call a lack of confidence, or at least related to it. Just think of the circumstances. Jesus has just come down from a mountain where he was transfigured, having taken Peter, James and John with him. That meant that when the man originally approached the remaining disciples, they would be without Jesus or some of those disciples who had become natural leaders of the group. You can imagine the conversation went something like this. "You want healing for your son? Well, Jesus isn't here at the moment. What, can one of us do it? Well, Peter and John would be best, but they're with Jesus. I suppose I could try, but the others have more experience than me." They had forgotten that in Matthew 10, Jesus gave all of them all authority. Some may be more confident than others. Some may have more experience than others. Some may have a particular gifting or strength, but the authority had been given to them all. At the Great Commission in Matthew 28, Jesus commissions all his people, including you and me. In his church, some people may have a specific gift or ministry for prayer, but that doesn't mean we are exempted from serving in that way ourselves. When they're not available and the leaders are busy with other things, God may call any of his people to step in. So my prayer is simply this: that this week someone might come up to you and in that conversation ask you for prayer. Or maybe you'll notice someone at the end of a church service who looks like they need someone to pray with them. And at that moment, may God remind you that you have authority in his name, just as every believer does, and that might give you the confidence to step forward and pray with them. And through doing this, may your faith blossom. Until next time, have a blessed